Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build. So today we are going to go a little bit old school and break out the Brotherhood field station to be the central point of our build. Okay, so as you may have noticed, I've given my character a little bit of a equipment upgrade, or equipment shift at the very least anyway. So quite happy with that, but I thought in honour of it, it was probably a good time to break out the Brotherhood field station and make use of that. So we have come down to the Cranberry Bog once again, and we're in a spot that I rather like building in. Good little spot, right next to the Sacramental Glade there. It's a lot closer to that spot than it looks like. The maps make it look like there's a good bit of distance between the two, but it's right next door. So kind of handy for the Beast of Burden event that's just been added, so kind of fun for that. Yeah, definitely a favourite spot of mine, as it's off the beaten path, it's flat, it's out of the way, and yeah, works quite nicely, which especially for this build is definitely a good thing. So, Brotherhood field station first and foremost. We're going to do something a little bit odd here, which is that this footage we're seeing now is not actually the build that I'm going to tour at the end. I went back and I did it again on a custom world because my initial build I did really the hard way. So I'm going to show you the easy way of doing this so you don't have to struggle like I did. So the first thing we're doing, we've dropped that prefab in and we're going to measure it. Because I'm going to go around the outside here with entirely chain link fences. So I'm just going to kind of measure it out here so I know how much space I need. So it's a little bit bigger than 2.5, which is fine. We can work with that. But I actually want the chain link to kind of clip into the back edges of the field station anyway, so that actually works quite nicely. So we'll get these 2.5 put in to mark where I want the field station to actually go. It's going to be about there. Looks good. And now we'll add the one full-size one on either end that is just going to be the bit where it steps out from the station. There we go, from the prefab. Now we take those three out, and the prefab should just drop straight into that gap and allow me to just extend the fence out all the way around without having to mess around and worry about it actually meeting up, because we haven't free-handed it. So if you're actually in adventure mode or a private world or whatever, then it might be a little bit harder to do this. Collision might be a bit more of an issue. With being in custom world, it's probably a tiny bit easier here. So I would say if it is a problem, grab the flamethrower, point it at the thick post on the end of these chain link fences and destroy them. Then you'll be able to move a little bit closer. Well, you should be able to. Or worst case scenario, you can always attach to the end of it and sort of have a bigger gap and aim for the middle of that. And then snap back in. But because these two were initially connected, they are the right distance apart from each other to just extend out like this. And when we come around to the front here, they should meet up in the middle quite nicely. Like that. And indeed they do. Obviously we've got that half-size one in the middle there just to close off. And look at that. Perfect. No messing around freehanding it and having a nightmare of a time like I did in my initial attempt to build this. So yeah, that would be the easy way. So we make it a bit more interesting than just a big square of rusted chain link. So we're going to put some guard posts on the corner. And I'm going to use the Free States ones here, but you can use the wooden ones if you don't have these. These actually look quite good with the field station. Obviously, if you're in adventure mode or a private world, they're not going to clip through the chain link quite so easily as this. Because, of course not, that would be far too easy. So we're going to pull the corner pieces off and just carefully line this up, and then we can snap these half-size chain links onto the end to sort of clip in a little bit and make it nice and snug. Now, one of these usually works okay and the other doesn't when you're in adventure mode, so you might need to flamethrower the guard posts there just to allow for the clipping to work properly. But it should make a nice little neat guard post on the corner, just like that, which looks pretty cool, I think. So we're going to head over and repeat the procedure on this corner here. I should say I'm going to stick with just the chain link on this one. Normally I'd mix things up a little bit, but my idea, headcanon concept for this build is that either the field station was here from the time of Taggarty's Brotherhood, or maybe even before, and they just took it over. But the whole thing was here and had been here for some time and kind of maybe fallen into a bit of disrepair. And then the players come along afterwards, possibly after becoming knight errant or something like that, and thought, you know what, this would be a good place to set up my new home. And has sort of repaired things a bit and moved in, dragged a load of stuff back in and sort of cluttered it up a bit. So it's no longer in its original use, but has a bit more of a theme, which is why I've gone for a kind of continuous, just rusted chain link look. But there we go. A nice big gap in the middle, which gives it a bit more of a military vibe than using the gates that come with the chain link set. The chain link actually comes with the Haunted House set from a couple of years ago now. Definitely one of the better sets we've gotten. But the gates that come with it are kind of big ornate wrought iron gates, and they don't really look very military, so leaving a gap and putting some guard posts out front, particularly these green military ones, looks quite good and definitely has a bit more of a military vibe to it. And it breaks up the other ways, like square uniform shape, just a little bit more, which is always nice. So one last thing that I want to do here, I'm going to grab this piece of chain link, disconnect it, turn off the snapping, flip it round, and just use the ghost to drop it back in again. Now we'll flip this back and snap it in again. Which should mean, all things being equal, we now have the thick posts on the end, either side of the entrance there, just for a neater, tidier sort of look. And there we go. Loads of room on either side for building some extra bits and pieces, which I'm going to need. But for now, let's head off and decorate. Okay, here we go. So we are back onto my private server, and back on my slightly free-handed fence, but the result is pretty much identical. Actually, it's a tiny little bit less neat than the other one, but, you know, second time around and everything. But I do rather like this. And adding all of the bits and pieces give it a nice kind of, once formerly tidy kind of military-esque kind of vibe. But now it's sort of been taken over and repurposed a little bit. So, as I said before, it kept the chain link nice and plain. I also don't want it to kind of detract too much from everything else. It's there and it's doing a job, and it's sort of visible at the back, but not really a focal point. So that's one of the other reasons I've kind of kept it plain as well. I'm quite happy with how this looks. So a few bits of extra pieces to kind of dress things up on the outside here and there. I needed some Brotherhood symbols because, you know, it's kind of in honour of the Brotherhood and my Brotherhood gear that I'm now wearing, as well as obviously it being a Brotherhood field station, so good opportunity to use some of those Brotherhood markers. I used the little round wall decorations, Brotherhood symbols that you've got there, on the guard posts, just so that I could hide the stars, because these are free states technically, these guard posts, but they also blend in with the Brotherhood stuff, as long as you hide the stars. So I've got a couple of cryo turrets out front there, because you sort of see the gulpers in the back corner there, that are right where we often get creatures spawning, so that's one drawback to this place, is it's on the edge of getting attacked fairly often. Good spot though, I do like it. Lots of clutter, lots of stuff just dragged back that's kind of built up. I guess the player's been here a little while now. So normally when I put mannequins on guard posts like this, my headcanon for it is they're real guards, in big floaty air quotes. But obviously we can't put real guards in, so, you know, you imagine. In this case, I think they're actually mannequins, and what the player's done is stuck them up there to make people think the place is better guarded than it really is. So that's my headcanon this time around. They're a bit of a trick, but I like the way they look, they're cool. So. Got a few extra bits and pieces down here just to kind of dress up and make it look like we've got stuff to use to repair the symptomatic and generator there. Really happy to use the mole rat generator. This is the largest of them. It's basically the fusion core generator, but in mole rat generator skin. And yeah, big and chunky that thing, but it's kind of fun to use once in a while, and it's a bit more rustic, so it goes with the theme of the build a bit better. Loads and loads of bits and pieces of stuff just around to look like stuff's going to be, you know, broken down for repairing, or just kind of been chucked somewhere, kicked out the way, whatever, just to kind of make the place look a bit more lived-in. Like my little vendor station there, sat on top of the Blue Ridge stash box there, which is just a big wooden crate, so it's nice to use that. Really happy about that. It's not quite the crate that I wanted, but it's definitely a good addition, and I'm happy to have it. Managed to squeeze little bathroom facilities in here. I didn't know I was going to be able to for a while, but I did manage it. And we've got a very compact little crafting area here. I'm quite happy with how this has come out. Loads of little bits of detail and stuff. Not entirely happy with the slight bit of floating going on with that Tinker's bench, but when you're putting things on the bare earth, then it's never quite flat. not much you can do about it. Unless you want to use foundations, which I really didn't here. So, all in all, it's come out okay. Everything is really tightly squeezed in here, so you have to be quite careful when you're putting stuff in and make sure that you can actually activate the workbenches and play around a bit to make sure that everything is functional. Otherwise, the enclosed space, you might not be able to use them. So, in this case, a couple of adjustments had to be made along the way, but we can actually get at everything, so that's cool. Loads of bits and pieces to break down again, dress the area up with. Do quite like. Quite a nice vibe. Nice sunny weather in the Cranberry Bog as well. Makes for a really nice look and really nice colours. Doesn't happen that often really. You get a lot of grey overcast unpleasant weather in the Cranberry Bog, but when you do get a nice sunny day, the colours are spot on. Yeah, I do quite like the field station here. Obviously it's based on the Brotherhood's bunker, or the entrance to the Brotherhood's bunker in Fallout 2, and it does look pretty cool. Fairly basic little power armor station there, but we're going to go and use the button on the side here to open the door. I can just open it from the middle, but yeah, it's fun to kind of use that thing. And here we go, our living space. So yeah, I thought we'd use the actual field station as the living space. We've got it sunk down just about as low as it can go there. And we've got a couple of lights up here, well 4, that are from the current season. Season 12 are we on now? I think we're on 12, thereabouts. And these are stage lights, so there's 3 different colours and 2 different types depending on the angle you want of the light. So I've just gone for the white ones, but they put out quite a cool light. It's enough but not too much, which is really quite cool in here, and I quite like the effect. Obviously one would see it better in the evening, but yeah, it works quite nicely. Nice little seating area to sit and read a magazine with a load of the new posters, some from the current scoreboard, some from their new public events, so that's cool, bit of a mix there. Comfy little sleeping area in the corner. Do wish we had a pillow, but you know, can't have everything. Love that we've got the Xion plushie in there. Thing is very cute. The Blue Devil plushie is quite nice as well. I haven't picked it up yet, but it looks quite cool. But I think that Xion one is definitely my favourite. Definitely a very nice addition. A little militaresque kind of dining area in the corner here. I want to kind of capture that vibe but not overdo it. And got quite soft walls on this thing, so it's kind of fun. You can kind of push a table in a little bit further and make it look like it's connected to the wall instead of standing on legs, which is quite cool. Still need to pick up a couple of the cryptid cards there. I've got, what, 6 of them there? Just need the last 2, but we'll get there. I thought it'd be fun to have that little display in anyway, so again from the current scoreboard. And a little cooking area, which is fairly simple, but does the job quite nicely, I think. Yeah, all in all, don't think I'd say it's exactly cosy, but it's certainly a comfortable and sheltered little home there. But the cooking station obviously put out enough heat to warm that place fine, so it'll be quite comfortable, I think. Apart from the smoke, but we'll pretend those pipes go all the way outside. There we go. You know, a nice couple of bits of extra dressing around there on the outside. The tulips are sinking in a bit because of the ramp, but yeah, that's the way it goes. They look alright. And yeah, I am quite happy all in all with a compact, simple-ish little build, but with a nice amount of detail. Still got a decent amount of budget left if I did want to add some extra bits and pieces around, but I was starting to repeat the decoration a bit, so it's come quite nicely at this point. And yeah, all in all, I quite like this place. So, hope you folks did enjoy this one. If you did, please consider dropping subs and likes. Just over the back there, incidentally, is exactly where you start off the Beast of Burden event, so it's literally right next to it. Yeah, social media links, merch store, channel memberships, all that good stuff down below the video if you're interested in hitting any of those buttons, notification bell as well, all that good stuff. If you're interested in catching future uploads and stuff, I very, very much appreciate the support. It's really, really helpful. Massive thank you to everybody who's checked all that stuff out. If you get a chance as well, join us for the live streams too. We are, of course, playing the new content in 76 at the moment, having a really good time with that. And gearing up for Starfield as well, which I'm really hyped for as well. So I hope you join us for all the new stuff. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.